What's up, guys? It's time for another tire test, and today we're going to be testing the Heidenau K60 Scout. This is arguably the longest lasting adventure tire known to man. People get upwards of 14,000 miles out of these tires. It's absolutely remarkable. The amount of tread depth that they have, number one, and the center strip, number two. Now there is a downside to these tires. Number one, they're not supposed to like cold or wet weather, and they're supposed to be loud on the freeway. So we're mounted up, ready to roll out here at Chaparral Motorsports. Crack the throttle, and this thing just spins. I kind of expected that. It's a harder rubber compound. It doesn't really stick until it gets warm. Let's come back around and take a look. With other tires that we tested, I was able to crack the throttle and lift the front end. But here with the K60 Scout, you can say that we left a nice long streak through the parking lot here. Until this tire gets warm, it really doesn't have the best attraction. So that's something. Attraction? Did you hear that? So until this tire gets warm, we really don't have the best of traction. So that's a warning to anybody out there running the K60 Scout. Run it down the freeway for a few minutes before you expect it to perform well in either the twisties or laying the throttle down. Now, initial feel of this tire, it does take a little bit more effort to lean the tire over than some of the other tires. Now that rear tire has a really round profile to it, so I'm actually surprised to be feeling that. I would have thought that it would have felt like it was gonna roll into corners a lot quicker or easier than it is. Now it's another thing I've got to say is when this tire does get, I don't know, 8, 9, 10,000 miles on it, it becomes very, very flat. And at that point in time, it definitely feels like a truck when it comes to the turn-in. I mean, it is 65 degrees outside, so we shouldn't have any problems as far as cool pavement goes, but we're still going to have to do our due diligence to get these things scrubbed in properly so that they're safe up there in the canyons. I'm going to jump off real quick and see if I can't do a little preliminary scrub. So right there, when I downshifted and put a little bit of brake on, the back tire started going skidding around. Again, ABS is off, traction control is off. We just got pure power and pure brakes going down to these tires. Now they are a much harder compound than a lot of the other tires that we've run, so they're not quite as sticky when it comes to acceleration or braking. Now on our way over to the sand wash, we're going to be cruising some rain-grooved highway right now. Now, like I said, I have had these on three different bikes actually. I've had them on my R1200 GS Adventure 2008 model, my 2009 KTM 950 Super Enduro, and actually when I bought this 1190 used, it had a set of them on it as well that I ended up putting 6,000 miles on before I swapped out to the Motaz Tractionator Rally tire. Now looking down to the pavement, you can see the rain groove down there, and you can see that the bars here are not moving at all. We're doing about 75 miles an hour. I have noticed from running these tires in the past that they are very stable tires on rain grooves of cement. I've never had them wiggle or wobble, or they just feel really planted when it comes to traveling down the highway. Let's see if I can get this tire to trip just on decel braking. Look at this action. Nice work, dude. The lane is over here. And that's why you need to be very aware of your situations when you're out riding a motorcycle. Right now, even though we have 30 PSI, which is less than what the recommended sidewall pressure is, it feels like these things are rock solid. Alright, this is where we jump off into the wash to scrubbing these tires and to have a little fun in the sand. Alright guys, so here we are. First takeoff here in the dirt. Ready? So now we're second gear, pinned open, and you can tell that we're not getting the forward momentum as quick as a lot of the other 50/50 tires that we've tested out here. Now the reason for that is the fact that that center strip does not have any cutouts in it. And that means that that center strip is what's making contact. So it's just spinning freely on top without having that bite slip that does happen on a true knobby adventure tire. Coming into corners here, we should have plenty of good traction here. So yeah, if I lean the bike over so that those side lugs actually make contact with the ground, we've got plenty of traction there. It's just that if we keep the bike sitting upright is where we're going to have a problem unless we're significantly aired down. The other problem that you're going to have with a tire such as this is braking. Watch this. We're going to lock this tire up and we're going to slide for a really long time. The reason that we're sliding so far is that center strip, literally, just watch this. I got to show you. So take a look. This is a plain as day description or visual. See this strip right here? Our lugs aren't even touching the ground to be able to slow us down. This center strip is actually compacting the ground and we're just sliding. So we're just sliding on this section of the tire, and unless this tire is aired down enough that this goes down, basically recesses like this, these really aren't on the ground doing the job that they're intended for. Whoa! Almost fell over. So in this really soft stuff, we should be able to have that tire sinking down. Now I'm getting quite a bit of handlebar wiggle on this tire, whoa, which is something I would not have expected. I've got the throttle cranked open and that back tire is spinning and working. Let's grab a higher gear. Oh, it did not like that. It did not like... There we go. So while I am getting forward momentum, I'm not getting the amount of speed that I've come to expect from a traditional 50/50 tire with cutouts. Alright, so my goal here is going to be to lay throttle down and basically do a U-turn here. Oh. So while the tire's leaned over, it does really well, but as soon as it sits up straight, that's where we come into a little bit of a problem. So in regards to this front tire, I'm getting a lot more wiggle in the front end than I would have expected from that V-shaped or the V-style tread pattern that's up there. Now let's get into the mud here and see how we, whoa, see how we do. Slippery. Whoa. And here on these rocks right here, you can definitely tell that the sidewall is significantly stiffer than some of the other tires that we've been running. The bike is just bouncing off these instead of conforming over the top. Time for this hill climb over here. Okay, not a problem. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go about halfway up, slow down a little bit. Killed it. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Worth a shot. Alright, I'll go do some more rolling through the rocks, then we'll meet you at the top. This is what happens when you're running a tire with the center strip. Dug in, dug down, but did not want to push me forward. That is for sure. Shit! Alright. Oh man. Quick tip for you guys, I've been trying to push this bike through the sand over here and I get completely stuck where the bike won't go forward anymore. When that happens, the best thing to do is to tip your bike to the side, get that wheel out of the sand, pick it back up. Now you can do one of two things. You can get on the bike and now Flintstone it forward, or you can fire it up and walk next to it like this. Man, With as meaty as those side lugs are, and as deep as that sand was, I was expecting this tire to have more forward propulsion. But as we just witnessed, oh shoot, the sand is a bit more of a struggle on this tire than it has been on some of the other tires that we've been running. Again, the cool thing about doing these tests back to back is you can really see how one tire performs as compared to another. That was nice. So with this tire, even going in a straight line, if I pitch this thing full pin throttle, the back end wants to wiggle around a little bit. Oh, my stopping distance is not what it was. Dude, woo, I have been full locked on the brakes since about where James is. Oh man. Down there in the wash, I experienced more of an 80-20 type feeling from the tires we've tested thus far. I mean, I really struggled down there with some of the 80-20 tires that we were on, and this and that deep stuff kind of acted the same. All right, now we're going to jump off onto Old Waterman Canyon Road here to get some little backcountry highway byway action going on. So here I'm on the brakes. Dude, this thing is just locking up and pitching sideways back there. But rolling out of these corners, I can grab as much throttle as I have the twist, and I'm not getting this thing to break loose at all. So once these tires are warm and on a relatively warm day, we're up to 68 degrees now, the performance of the compound of this tire is really good as far as traction goes. Take a look. Roll on the throttle, the front wheel comes up. I really like it. It's just that coming into these corners, it almost feels like I'm rolling on a stone tire instead of a rubber tire, as far as the amount of squish and feedback that I'm getting back from this thing. Now in this corner on some of the other 50-50 tires, when I'd roll into that full pinned open like that, those tires would break loose and kind of slide sideways. I'm absolutely not getting any of that feeling with this particular tire. This thing is sticking to the road like glue. Man, the traction is really impressive. I gotta say, I'm blown away, really, with how sticky this compound is once it gets warmed up. Because of that center strip, watch this. I'm gonna brake right here, not hard, just a little bit. And all I have to do is really lean on that pedal a little bit, and I'm really getting some lockup of that rear tire. Now on this road, you can expect to see just about anything, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. So here's some wet pavement in the shade, so this ground isn't really that warm yet, as it's shaded. So in this section here that's relatively cool, I can crack the throttle and I get a little bit of wheel spin, but I'm not able to get that front tire to pull up like I was getting to happen before. So from what I can tell by that little action right there, if the cement's warm and the tire's warm, you get a good bite. If the tire's warm and even the cement is cold, like we just saw right there, there's a little bit less traction for sure with this tire. Now to hit some high-speed twisties up here on Highway 18. Right about here, we're going to lay into it. This road today is going to be definitely different than what we've traveled in the past. As you can see here, it is freshly graded. So now I've got quite a bit of loose rock here that he's actually turned up. So if I keep the bike leaned over on those lugs, I'm getting some pretty good traction. But if I leave it standing straight up, I kind of don't. See right there, I would normally be able to jump that and loft that, but because I was up and down, straight up and down, that tire just spun a lot and kind of propelled us up and over the top of the ridge, which was good. That's what we want, but we didn't get any lofting that we're used to. Now on this freshly graded dirt road, I'm getting quite a bit of push from the front end, so I'm coming in here and I'm feeling the front end just kind of push to the side a bit. Now it looks like we're going to get on some native soil that has not been graded. This is typically one of the more rockier sections of our journey. This is probably a weak point of this tire right here. The way that we're bouncing around over these rocks and not really getting traction, again, that center strip is what's contacting each of these rocks and kind of skipping across the top of them. The tire isn't wrapping around these rocks, or the rocks aren't getting caught in between the grooves of those lugs on the sides, because that center is intercepting, taking control, and just rolling over the top. Coming up here to the hill climb section of the challenge. I am in second gear. I'm going to get a running start at the hill here. Oh! All right, well, we were able to pull through it. I did have two spots right there that I basically lost traction. The bike had to work pretty hard in order to refine or regain that traction. Now, I'm going to go ahead and come down this hill on my brakes, as you would if you were fully loaded coming down something like this. Just kind of see what kind of traction we're going to get. See if that front tire is going to hold us back as we gingerly take our fully loaded, panniered up adventure bike down a hillside. Front tire's really good. That back tire's sliding a lot more than I wished it would. That's for sure. All right, so now we're gonna be doing the hill climb here from a stop. Go ahead and slip the clutch. Give it some help. Oh, not working. Oh, it was a tree. All right. Got to turn back around and give it another go, I think. So now we're going to try it with about a 20 yard, 25 yard head start before we jam up the mountain. Let's give it a shot. Now I'm going to come down here at a pretty decent pace, one that you would take if you weren't loaded, just cruising down a mountain. Except the front tire is giving me some pretty good traction. I'm impressed with how well it's working. I am skipping out a little bit from side to side, but I think that's due to the pressure of the tire and the harder sidewalls, not necessarily the tread compound or makeup. If you go back and take a look at some of the past hill climb footage, we're actually traveling up this hill pretty slow as compared to some of the others. Even though we're in the same gears, the same amount of throttle open, we're spinning a lot in the back, and we're not making as quick a forward momentum as we have on some of the others. All right, here we go. So now I'm going to shift into second gear here. Whoa! Now I'm trying to power up this thing as best as I can. I'm all over the place, guys. Yeah, the back end was just dancing from side to side looking for traction. So you can see we started on one side, pitched sideways, got traction, shot us to the other side, where then we had to correct, and that then pitched us sideways over onto our lugs, and to the other side we went. Now for this run, I'm going to go full bore, guys. Second gear, a little bit of speed. Oh, we're off onto this side again. again, even with a lot of speed, this tire just wanted to be able to go to its side in order to find that traction point. So from that rear tire cam, you should be able to see the back end of this bike just skating like this. It really has no traction forward on these marbly type rocks until it switches over to the oh man, I hope it's visible in that rear camera. I really do, because the bike is just doing this. It's coming over, hitting lugs on this side, coming over, hitting lugs on this side. It's just, it really is just bouncing back and forth, side to side. So this ride down this road that's relatively rocky is a lot more jarring than the previous trips that I've had down this path. The lack of give on the sidewall, very, very stiff and robust construction, and very robust tread compound is really making this tire less pleasant to ride down this rocky trail than some of the other tires. So most of my downhill grip right now is coming from the front tire, actually. That rear tire, I mean, you'll probably be able to see in that rear cam, but is not helping a whole lot. It's not being my friend. But the front tire is holding me back and allowing me to have good position down the mountain there. So right here, that rear tire is not being helpful at the moment. Just saying. Wow, the slide that back tire has when you put on that brake is, it's ridiculous. That's all I can say, it's ridiculous. Alright, now we're back to the highway, kicking it up to highway speeds. What I'm feeling when I'm coming back and forth is a really stiff and rigid carcass. On a softer carcass, you come over to the side and just rolls over to the next one, and rolls to the next one. This one, it gets over there and it's like, ugh, and pushes the other side, then ugh, pushes the other side. It's a very big difference in feeling. No cheating. You're cheating. Jumping the line, lady. This guy's ready. 2 hands on the steering wheel. He's ready to roll. Oh, look at this. Running the red light. It's 72 degrees outside. Well, 71.7 to be exact. Not a bad day here for Friday the 13th. Oh yeah, we got an Africa Twin out here, guys. Nice. Well guys, that's what we have for you today. That there is a full tire test of the Heidenau K60 Scout. As you can see, this front tire looks damn near brand new. It's pretty much to be expected. Let's come over here and take a look at what we did as far as damage goes to this rear tire. You can see that we wore it down quite a bit. I mean, the terrain that we're going through is really, really rough. You can see that we took a couple notches out, a couple scratches out. We definitely wore down some of these leading edges. Overall, this tire performed extremely well. Now, the caveat of this center strip here, the hardness of the rubber, and the stiffness of the sidewall are 3 things that make this tire last super long. If you're looking for the longest lasting adventure tire that you can put on your bike, the Heidenau K60 Scout is probably the one you want to look at. Now, if you're looking for the Heidenau Killer, a tire that sticks better on the pavement than the Heidenau K60 Scout in cold weather, has better wet weather tendencies, and has extreme mileage due to that center rib, the Motaz Tractionator GPS tire is the tire you should probably look at. Anyway, go take a look at the review that we have of this tire. It's a phenomenal tire made by Motaz. Take care.